Hello and welcome to Module 3, which is actually a pretty darn good module. I like this module a lot. There's some really practical things that we get to do in this, and it really gives you a chance to think and kind of maybe articulate some things that you have already know and already have kind of identified as what you believe, but you get to actually put it into words. All right, so let's get right to it. Let's go to the learning objectives. Well, okay. So basically, it says analyze situations that present issues with managing clients. What does that even mean? So let's not get hung up on that. There's two activities that we're going to be doing in this module that are kind of like real life things. One is actually like a practical thing, and one's more of a philosophical thing. And so we're going to kind of get through that, and we'll talk about the resources and stuff. So let's not get too hung up on the learning objectives. You're going to see that as we go. Okay. The module overview, I'm going to let you read this on your own, but really the concept behind this module is really looking at one thing, the big picture. Okay, so I recently finished writing my 11th book, and it's went through, I just got done with the beta reading stage, and it was fantastic because I had people that I know and I've worked with that basically look over the thing to see what I'm missing as far as like the big picture. We're not talking, line editing or anything like that. This is just overall, does this make sense? Does this flow well? Does this connect? What seems to be doesn't ring true, what worked, what didn't work. Okay, so this is kind of what we're going to be talking about. And it should be noted that there is not, a standard editors guild in the United States that's governed by anybody. So just keep that in mind as you read this. All right, let's move on. Okay, module at a glance, the things that we're going to be doing. Yeah, well, we'll just go ahead and just go through them. Okay. So here's the readings and resources. So more things that you get to read. Again, what you put into this class is what you're going to get out of it. There's some excellent ideas here that these little sources here are fantastic as far as what advice you should know before you hire an editor, or about a book doctor, what all this stuff is. Neither one of these are very long. But there's also an additional thing about scams, and the extra thing that I created that will be in the announcements is kind of an example of this concept of what we have to do is buyer beware kind of a thing. Okay, so be aware that there will be an additional little video that I create, and it's actually pretty fun. The students seem to enjoy it, but it drives this point home pretty well. So those are your readings and resources. I'm going to spend the majority of this time in this video about the actual assignments. So again, just be aware that there is additional resources or lesson. Again, it'll be a different announcement that will post the same day that this one posts, which will be on Monday, and it's a lesson about scams and the way that it relates to what you need to be aware of and stuff like that. Okay, so let's actually get to the assignments, because these are the fun one. I love this assignment because it is so realistic. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one, this manuscript review. So, oops, let me make this a little bit bigger here. Okay, so for this activity, you're going to choose just one of these scenarios, and you're going to respond to it. Okay, so let's take a look at first scenario. Now, this may be something you've already done, or maybe something you're facing in the future. I've had all three of these happen to me, so this is very realistic. Okay, so you just finished speaking at your local library, and now you're signing books. Okay, done that. It's been cool. It's actually really pretty neat. And in general, there's always someone that says, "Hey, I've written a novel," too, and you're like, "Well, that's fantastic. Would you read it and tell me what you think?" Okay, I think it's perfect. So maybe you could just pass it on to your publisher. Okay, that seems a little outlandish, maybe, but you'd be surprised. So the question is, what do you do? How do you respond to that? Okay, that's scenario one. Scenario two, you're part of a critique group, okay, and someone says, "You know what? Hey, I really love your comments and the feedback that you give, to the group. Would you be willing to look at my work in progress and tell me what you think?" And you're like, "Okay, sure." And then you look at it, and it is a plotless, head-hopping mess. How do you respond? Bum, 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 bum. Or scenario three, you don't have to do all three, you just have to do one of these. Okay, you check your email. All right, and someone's emailed you and said, "Hey, I don't know you, but I loved your latest novel. You know what? I also write that kind of genre. Will you read my book and give me feedback?" How would you respond? I've had all three of these things happen. Now, notice I haven't said how I responded because I want you to think about that. So for this assignment, what you're going to do is pick one of these scenarios, and you're going to say, how would you handle this conversation? And how would you respond to the scenario? Okay? So for this activity, what you're going to be doing is this is written, not a video one, a written one. And please use, if you're going to use any sort of citation, make sure it's MLA formatting. Heck, any paper you turn in should really be MLA formatting by this point in time. And there's resources, which again I'll review at the end of this video, of how to do stuff in MLA formatting. But so here's the first thing, and I'm going to talk about this more with the next assignment. But so basically, you kind of just kind of like introduction. Okay, I'm going to pick scenario 2, whatever. Okay, and then how would you handle the conversation? Give me a generalized, overview of how you handle it, maybe a specific, and then explain how you would respond to the scenario. Now, notice it doesn't have a page length, it doesn't have a word count or anything like this. For you to earn full points on this, it just needs to be very clear to me that you have a grasp of the scenario, and that maybe a paragraph or 2 for how you'd handle a conversation, a paragraph or 2 on how you'd respond, and really kind of be honest. Don't write what you think would be politically correct, or what think about you. What would you do? How would you do it? What are you willing to accept? What are you willing not to do? And stuff like this. So that's a real thing. Okay. So again, to get full points, just make sure that you explain how you're going to handle that conversation, and then you can actually maybe even write out a little story of how you would respond to that person. Maybe you type a little email or something and say, hey, this is how I'd respond to you. So there is, or you could have write out dialogue, something. That's just one way to do it. But again, there's a little flexibility in this format. Okay, so there's that one. Let's go to the next one, which is just to let you know, so for the final project of this class, it's really, you're going to take several papers, or like 3 papers you're going to be writing over the course of this class. And, hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my phone rang in my office while I was doing this. All right, let's talk about the third assignment. Okay, so as I was saying, so for the final project, there's really 3 papers you're going to be writing and get feedback from me and from your peers on. And this is the first one, and this is really kind of the introspective one: philosophy on coaching and mentoring. So let's go ahead and take a look at that assignment. If you click here, it brings up this link right here. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger so we can read it. Okay, so for this one, you're basically going to look at how you would approach revising work. Pedagogical, again, is just your teaching philosophy, really how you would go about doing it. Okay, and so really you're going to write a paper, and it's going to be 2 to 3 pages long in MLA formatting, where you're going to address these points. Now, here is a big trick that I'm going to share with you. It's not a trick, it's actually just a good thing. Okay, these are the points that you have to cover. And think as an academic writer for a second. I know most of us are creative writers, and I know we'd rather just kind of say, woo, we're going to roll with this, but please pay attention. All right? If I were to write this paper as a student, I would have an introduction that basically talks about, in this paper, I'm going to review, my approaches on how I do revision, and some specific techniques. And then here is your outline. Boom, 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 boom. Really? Yeah, seriously, okay? Your topic sentence for your maybe the second paragraph, okay? The pedagogical approach I takes, and then you actually state it and then give an example. Okay, maybe you take a paragraph or 2 there. The approach I would take on coaching and mentoring would be, and then you give a generalization, back it up with an example. Some techniques that I would include would be blank, give an example. Some revision that I employ will be, and then give an example. Okay, this is your outline. Okay, and make it stupidly easy for me to figure out, oh, they're talking about this, they're talking about this, they're talking about this, they're talking about this. That's what you should do in an academic paper. If you decide to just take these as a general overall, well, I'm just going to write a whole paper and let the paper, kind of speak for itself, and let the professor read the paper and, identify this as he goes. No, this is not me trying to figure out the theme of a work. Okay, no, this is an academic paper. You need to be stupidly clear. Hit me over the head. Hey, this is what I'm talking about. That's why we have topic sentences. That's why we give evidence and have concluding sentences. Then we end with a conclusion. Okay, so it needs to be 2 to 3 pages long. Again, then you should be fine. All right, there's that. Let's go back to this. All right, last but not least would be, once again, we're adding stuff to that class resources, which again is found under the course menu. If you go to discussions and you go all the way to the end, class resources here, and in the class resources, this is where you add stuff. And again, there is the MLA formatting videos. So that's what we're doing for this module. Now go do it.